Half a day, and welcome to GCA Today. I'm Anne-Marie Palabello with the Guam Contractors Association. Today we'll be talking about roof coatings and painting, and I have with me a special guest, Mr. Bryant Kent, Vice President of ISLA Coating and Roofing Supplies. Half a day, Mr. Kent, how are you?
Quite well, thank you for having me.
How's your holiday so far?
Been great.
Awesome. Tell us more about ISLA. What do you offer? What services and what products?
Well, ISLA Coatings is quite unique from our other vendors. You've mentioned paint, which is kind of a misnomer. We actually got out of the architectural house paint a number of years back. Common distinction, a very large distinction between paints and coatings is that paints are often referred to as decorative.
Okay.
And so they really don't offer any substantial protection to the substrate or prevent waterproofing or things of that nature.
So what products do you offer?
Well, we offer coatings systems, and those are often broken up into having a primer and then a series of top coats depending on what the environment is requiring to either protect or waterproof or prevent corrosion or things. So in that way, we look more at coatings as being protective systems.
Mm-hmm.
They can be a number of, whether they're sheet goods or perhaps fluid applied or mortar type systems or things and they will do bridge cracking, bridge over cracks, or perhaps prevent water intrusion or keep water within so it doesn't cause a coating to delaminate or something of that nature.
What's the warranty? What's lifetime length?
Well, warranties we offer on a number of different systems can range from 3 to 20 years.
Okay, so on our island in Guam, the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the longest lifetime or time in regards of coatings?
For coatings that are exposed, we'll go between 10 and 20 years.
Good job.
So they'll provide waterproofing on our fluid applied roofing systems up to 20 years. A number of our wall systems, we're kind of in two different categories. Some of those are traditional sprayed on acrylic type texture systems, which is quite common that you find on the outside of Naval Hospital project or perhaps on the outside of the P-109 hangar project up on Anderson. Those are extremely popular, and we offer warranties up to 10 years on those.
Nice.
For a number of the custom homes that we do, we offer exterior finishing systems that are actually made from granite dust.
Okay.
And these are types of systems which have no pigment, that have flakes of perhaps clear or black mica within them. And because they're natural ores, they're made from granite dust or whatever, they don't fade.
Okay.
So the color stability is tremendous, and we do warranties on those. On the color stability on the non-fade up to a 15-year period.
What's your turnaround time upon the request?
For manufacturers, usually 2 to 3 weeks,
Gotcha.
and then we have another 2 to 3 weeks to bring it on in. But once it's on island, the application actually goes relatively quickly.
Okay.
Because most of these are trowel applied systems.
Awesome. What's the most highly requested product?
It'll probably surprise you, but our most commonly sold products is our primers.
Primers, okay.
People like to have one coat, one finish kind of things, but every type of architectural finishing system has a personality, just like people have personalities. Yes. And when you ask them to do 6 or 7 things that they do at the same time, they'll perform about the same way that we do.
Okay.
And so with that in mind, primers are all about bond.
Okay.
And making things adhere is what adds to the basic integrity of the rest of the system as you build it from the surface up.
Okay.
So by combining things to make them do as many as possible, you always have slightly less integrity than when you kind of break things into a series of layers and then let each system do what that primary function is. So our number one seller is primers.
Primers.
As far as our total sales, fluid applied roof coatings and exterior finishing systems. Probably 1, 2, 3, 4. Roofing, exterior finishing, epoxy, floor coating systems, and below grade waterproofing systems.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we have a pretty good range.
Good job. So if I was a customer and I have this large project, would you be able to come over to my site and, just provide, so I'll have the actual quantity I will need?
Yeah, and again, I think that's another thing that separates us is that we have a very strong site presence.
Okay.
And we do that for a number of reasons, mostly because where we focus on is particularly architectural finishing systems that require both a certified applicator, a competent person representing the manufacturer, someone who's able to view details on site or do site visits and also provide the testing, whether it's checking for the humidity or whether or not the surface is clean, so that the system can proceed and then a warranty issued at the end.
Good job.
And we seem to be the only company that really focuses on those two strengths, both given the ability for us to sell the product, to represent the system, and provide the opportunity to grow somebody else's company. So if you were a contractor, Anne-Marie, and you wanted to say, well, we'd like to get into doing this, how can you help us? We would be able to come out and say, okay, we have some product, let's go ahead and put you through the motions of the trainings to learn how to do the system. We would often request the cooperation of the owner of the building to support both the opportunity for you to learn the system under manufacturer's supervision, and we'd still be able to honor the warranty on the completion.
Wonderful.
So it really works for both parties to becoming involved.
How long has Isla been in business?
I started the company in 1998. At that time, Guam's economy was a little bit different. We had a lot of commercial work going on aside from just the military work. With the announcement of the Guam Industry Forum back in 2007, at that time we were a sole proprietorship,
Okay.
and I really felt that we needed someone to provide for the women-owned component. And at that time, Jaylene was over in California, and the economy has crashed over there. So it's like, hey, we could really put something together here.
She's awesome too.
And so with that, sure, she's helped grow the company in many ways. It provides us a great advantage now for the prime contractors when they purchase directly to get the hub zone, small disadvantaged female owned, woman owned
Good
business
job.
kinds of things. So it keeps us in that loop.
And the purpose I asked you that question is because great customer service,
Okay.
quality service, and keep it up, keep it going.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
And the things you guys do. I mean, like for me, I call in and I ask, hey, what is this product and so forth.
Mhm.
You guys come out and you just explain it to me, letting me know the understanding.
Our motto is we try to save you the expense of cheap products.
Mm-hmm. Cheap, it's the quality.
It's a limited lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a limited lifespan, and as there's a proliferation of products, it's kind of understandable that most people, if you have 4 or 5 different things to compare from, you might take the time to go see what's the good and the bad and everything else. But I think many consumers find themselves in an environment where they have 150 products to choose from, and now it's an extremely more difficult operation to say, well, what's the difference between an acrylic or silicone enhanced or 100% acrylic, silicone, or all of these, and what is the advantage and disadvantages to using some of those. So in many ways, while we don't claim to be chemists, we do a lot of field testing. A lot of things that concern us are material compatibility. So when someone like you calls and say, I want to put this on top of here, a few questions of saying, well, that's not compatible, you really have to choose from this type, or yes, you can, or here's a method to transition back to what you want to have, or something along those lines.
Good job. As long as you let them know what they really need instead of improvising and going in another way, a shortcut or,
Right.
So it saves them time. It saves them...
Saves them time, saves them money, and we hope that in the long run, they've preserved the facility that they were intending to, and everybody's happy and made a little money along the way.
How's business so far?
I think it's going up.
Hopefully 2018 will be great.
We're looking forward to it.
Good job.
I think many of us in the industry agree that projects are like Cheetos, right? Enough's never enough.
Never enough. So, Mr. Brian, thank you so much for your time, and thank you, for making the time to be here. And for your coding needs, please contact Isla. Mr. Brian Kent. And thank you all for taking your time watching our Guam Contractors Association podcast. In the meantime, have a safe and happy holidays. Adios.
Merry Christmas.